My husband's late meetings became more frequent. One night, he came home smelling like a woman's perfume. Office holiday party, he lied. But later, his work email lit up on our shared laptop. Last night was a dream. Can't wait to feel you again. My heart pounded as I replied, me neither. Let's meet again tonight. The next evening, I showed up at the restaurant instead, and when he saw me sitting across from his mistress, his face went white. I never thought I'd post here, but here I am. Hi, 45 female, have been married to Mark, 47 male, for 20 years. We live in Seattle. We have 2 kids in college. For a long time, I thought we had a good life. Not perfect, but good. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. We had routines, traditions, inside jokes. All of it. Mark works in marketing for a mid-sized tech company downtown. His job was always a little demanding. Over the years, he's had to attend dinners, conferences, and the usual networking stuff. I never really questioned it. I trusted him. I had no reason not to, until I did. Around September last year, Mark's schedule started shifting. He began staying later at work. Sometimes he'd get home after 9 p.m. At first, he said it was just the busy season. I believed him. Or I tried to, but it became more and more frequent. He'd come home tired, barely talk, head straight to the shower or to bed. No affection. No real conversation. I thought maybe he was just going through something, or that the pressure at work had increased. Then, one night in December, he walked in the door smelling different. And I don't mean the usual mix of cologne and stress. I mean perfume. Strong. Sweet. Not mine. I asked him, straight out, why do you smell like perfume? He paused. Just for a second. That was enough. Then he smiled, like I was being silly. Oh, office holiday party. Everyone was hugging. You know how people are. I stared at him. He was too calm. Too smooth. He had that I rehearsed this answer tone. My gut twisted. I didn't push it further that night. I just said, okay, and went into the kitchen. But that moment stuck in my head. That lie opened a door I couldn't close. 2 weeks later, I was using our shared laptop. Mark and I always shared the same one in the living room. I needed to check my email, but as soon as I opened the browser, his Gmail was still logged in. A new message popped up. I wasn't snooping. It literally appeared in real time. The subject line said, "Last night was a dream." The body of the email? "I still feel your hands on me. Can't wait to feel you again." I just sat there. My hands were cold. I read it over and over, trying to convince myself it wasn't what it looked like. But it was. It was from someone named Samantha. She didn't use a last name. Just that message. I stared at it for a long time. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't cry. Just numb. Instead of confronting him right away, I responded. I don't know what came over me. I wasn't thinking clearly. I clicked reply. And I typed, me neither. Let's meet again tonight. Then I hit send. Just like that. My heart was beating so fast I thought I might pass out. 20 minutes later, Samantha replied. How about the bistro on Madison? 7 p.m. That place is maybe 10 minutes from our house. It's small, cozy, kind of romantic. I responded, perfect. Can't wait. Then I closed the laptop and sat on the couch in total silence. I barely slept that night. I watched him while he slept next to me, totally unaware. I kept replaying the email over and over in my mind. I thought about our kids. Our wedding. Every little moment we ever shared. By morning, I felt like I had lived a full year in one night. I acted normal. I made coffee, kissed him on the cheek, asked about his schedule. He said he'd be working late. Client meeting, he said. I almost laughed. He had no idea. I spent the day rehearsing what I would say. I wrote it down, deleted it, rewrote it. I wanted to scream, but I knew I had to stay calm. At least until I saw her face. Until I saw his face. I got to the restaurant early. I wore something simple. I didn't want to look like I was trying too hard. I wanted to be calm, collected, unshakable. The hostess asked, "Table for two?" I said, "Actually, three. I'm expecting my husband and his date." She blinked. Okay. I was seated at a small corner table. I chose the spot carefully. It gave me a perfect view of the entrance. I ordered water and waited. Every second felt like an hour. I watched the door. I couldn't stop tapping my foot. And then, right at 7, they walked in. Mark was wearing a dark jacket and jeans. Casual, comfortable. Samantha was younger than me. Maybe early 30s. Blonde, slim, red lipstick, high heels. They were laughing as they walked in. She touched his arm. Then he saw me. Mark froze. Dead in his tracks. His face turned gray. No color. No emotion. Just shock. I saw his jaw twitch. Samantha looked confused, then followed his gaze. She saw me. Sitting there. Alone. Calm. I smiled. Not a big smile. Just enough. I stood up and waved. Samantha looked back at him. "Is that your wife?" He didn't answer. He just nodded, barely. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. I walked up to them. Looked her in the eyes. "I'm the wife," I said. "Nice to finally meet you." Her mouth fell open. I could see her brain trying to catch up. Mark said, "Babe, I can explain." "No," I said. "You really can't." I turned to Samantha again. "How long?" She looked at him, then back at me. "A few months." She didn't even try to lie. I appreciated that, at least. It's been 4 days since the dinner. 4 days since Mark stood in a crowded restaurant, staring at me like I was a ghost, while his girlfriend clung to his arm. 4 days, and he still hasn't come home. After that dinner, I left without looking back. I didn't yell. I didn't cause a scene. I just walked out. I expected him to come crawling home. I thought he'd follow me, beg for forgiveness, maybe cry. But nothing. Instead, he checked into a hotel. I only found out because I saw the charge pop up on our joint credit card. Marriott, downtown. I didn't block him. I didn't even call. I wanted to see what he'd do. But the silence was loud. Like he was waiting to see how mad I really was. Like I had done something wrong. On day 2, he finally texted, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for you to find out like that. Can we talk?" I stared at it for a while. I didn't respond. 2 hours later, "I know you're hurt. I messed up. But there's more going on than you know." That part made me pause. More going on? What else could there be? "You cheated, Mark." That's enough. Still, I didn't reply. I needed time. I needed space. But he wasn't done. On day 3, I got a knock at the door. It wasn't Mark. It was Samantha. She stood there, coat still on, hands shaking. I could tell she didn't want to be there. But she also wasn't leaving. I opened the door just a crack. "What do you want?" I asked. She looked me in the eye and said, "I didn't know he was married." I opened the door wider. Not because I believed her, but because I wanted to hear her. We sat at the kitchen table. She didn't ask for coffee. She got straight to it. I met him at a conference in San Diego. He told me he was divorced. Said he had 2 grown kids and lived alone. I raised an eyebrow. Didn't think to ask why he never brought you to his place? She blinked. He said it was being remodeled. And I guess I didn't want to believe something was off. He was always on his phone. Always had an excuse. She reached into her purse and handed me a printed screenshot. It was a text from Mark. "You make me feel alive again. Don't worry, I haven't spoken to my ex in years. She's out of my life." Ex. He called me his ex. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I didn't come here to fight you," she said. "I came to say I'm sorry. And to tell you. I'm pregnant." I gripped the edge of the table. I stared at her stomach. She didn't look pregnant. Not yet. But I could tell by the way she held herself, it was true. "I found out last week," she said. "He doesn't know yet. I haven't told him." Why are you telling me? Because I didn't want you to hear it from him. And because I don't want him in my life. Not like this. Not after what he did. I didn't know what to say. My mind was spinning. My husband cheated on me, lied to me, lied to her, and now she's carrying his child. It felt like my whole world cracked in half. That night, I called Mark. He picked up on the first ring. It's about time, he said. I was starting to think you'd never. She came to the house. Silence. Samantha, I said. She told me everything, including the baby. More silence. Then, she's lying. I almost laughed. Of course she is. No, I mean it. She's trying to trap me. You don't know her like I do. She's obsessed. Mark, I cut him off. You lied to her. You told her we were divorced. You told her I was your ex. You slept with her in a hotel while telling me you were working late. You can't spin this. I panicked, he said. It wasn't supposed to get this far. It was just. I was lonely. You were distant. The kids left. Everything felt empty. I didn't know how to talk to you. I let out a long breath. So instead of talking to me, you started a whole other life? He didn't answer. The next morning, I got a call from Mark's job. A woman named Rachel from HR. She sounded nervous. Hi, is this Mrs. Lennox? Yes, I'm calling regarding a sensitive issue. We're currently conducting an internal investigation. We're aware of an inappropriate relationship between Mr. Lennox and a client representative, and we're reviewing the impact on company policy. This call is confidential. I almost dropped the phone. She didn't say Samantha's name, but it was obvious. Turns out, Samantha isn't just some random woman. She works for a competing firm, and Mark may have shared sensitive client info with her during their little affair. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about his job, his career, our finances. Now I'm sitting here, wondering what comes next. I haven't told the kids. Not yet. I don't know what Mark's going to do, or what Samantha's planning. She said she didn't want him in her life, but that could change. There's a storm coming. I can feel it. I've got questions he hasn't answered, and secrets I still don't know. If you're just tuning in, here's the quick version. My husband, Mark, cheated on me. I caught him by replying to his mistress' email pretending to be him. I showed up to the dinner instead. She had no idea I existed. She showed up at my house days later and dropped a bomb. She's pregnant. Then, HR from Mark's job called me. Now his career's on the line. But I thought that was the worst of it. I was wrong. 3 days after the HR call, a manila envelope arrived in our mailbox. No return address. No name. I almost tossed it. But something about it felt heavy. Inside was a stack of printed emails, photos, a USB. The top email was from Mark. Send to someone named Rachel. The same Rachel from HR. The subject line? Need to see you again. I miss your skin. I flipped through the papers. Dates, times, emails. Photos of hotel rooms. One selfie, Mark shirtless, taken in what looked like the same Marriott from the credit card charge. It wasn't just Samantha. He'd been with Rachel, too. Rachel from HR. The woman who called me to tell me about the investigation. She wasn't warning me. She was covering her own ass. I plugged the USB into a burner laptop, just in case. It had video, audio. One recording stood out. Mark's voice. You know I have to keep it quiet with Samantha. If my wife finds out, everything falls apart. But you're the one I think about when I'm at home. Another voice. Rachel's. You said that to Samantha too. Mark, that's different. She was a mistake. You're not. I sat there, jaw clenched. My husband had turned our marriage into a hobby. Something to cheat on. Hide behind. Escape from. It wasn't about one affair. Or even two. It was about control. I texted her. We need to talk. Urgent. She replied within minutes. We met at the same cafe where she first told me about the pregnancy. This time, she looked worn, tired, but stronger somehow. I laid the envelope and USB on the table. I thought you should know, I said. She opened the folder. Her face paled. I thought I was the only one, she whispered. Rachel from HR, I told her. He was sleeping with her too. She's the one who called me about the work investigation. She lied. Samantha shook her head, eyes glassy. I told him about the baby, she said quietly. 2 nights ago. My heart stopped. What did he say? She looked up, dead in the eyes. He said, and I quote, "You're not the first woman who's tried to trap me with a baby." Samantha and I kept digging. I wasn't even sure why anymore. Curiosity? Pain? Revenge? We found his second phone. The burner. He kept it in a gym bag in his car's trunk. It was full of contacts. Jen, M. Stargirl face blowing kiss, red lace. Texts. Nudes. More lies. At least 5 other women. All different cities. Some casual, some more involved. One, from Chicago, had messaged, "Booked the flights for next month. Can't wait to be in your arms again." Same hotel. The man was running a damn tour. This wasn't a midlife crisis. This was intentional. And now, every part of our life, our savings, our insurance, our kids' tuition fund, was under a microscope. Then, Samantha dropped her own secret. "I didn't tell you everything," she said. I lied too. At first. I blinked. "What do you mean?" "I'm not just a client rep. I used to be a private investigator." I stared at her. "I was hired to follow him," she continued. "By someone else. A woman." "Who?" "I don't know. She only went by L. I never met her. Just email and payment transfers." My blood turned cold. "Why didn't you tell me this before?" "Because I fell for him," she said. "I thought maybe he was different." By the time I realized how deep it was, I was already sleeping with him. Now I don't know who the hell L is. I don't know how far this goes. I don't even know if I was the first wife. Mark still hasn't come home. He texted again this morning. "We need to talk. Urgently. There are things I haven't told you." No shit. I'm meeting with a lawyer tomorrow. Not just for divorce, but to find out what I don't know, because it feels like this man has built a whole web of lies, and I'm just now seeing the threads. I met with the lawyer the next morning. The kind who doesn't waste words. She looked at the manila folder and USB, flipped through the documents, and gave a slow nod. "You have enough here to rip him apart in court," she said. I didn't smile. I didn't want revenge. I wanted truth. I wanted the full picture of the man I thought I loved for 20 years. She asked if I wanted to freeze the joint accounts. I said yes. Then she leaned in and said, "Has he been violent before?" That caught me off guard. "No. Never. Not once." She nodded slowly. "Just asking. A man who lives this many lives, sometimes he snaps when they all fall apart." I agreed to meet Mark. Neutral ground. A coffee shop halfway between his office and our house. I didn't wear makeup. I didn't dress up. I went in plain jeans and a hoodie. I wanted him to see the real me, the woman he threw away like yesterday's trash. He walked in looking like hell. Wrinkled shirt. Stubble. Red eyes. "Thanks for coming," he said. I didn't say anything. He sat across from me. Didn't order anything. "Look," he started. "I know you're angry now. Angry was 2 weeks ago. I'm way past that now." He swallowed. "I want to explain." I held up the envelope. "You don't need to. I already know. Rachel. Samantha. The burner phone. Chicago. You've been collecting women like baseball cards." His jaw clenched. "It wasn't like that." "Oh, please." Then he dropped it. "Okay. Fine. Yes, I cheated. More than once. A lot more. But not because I stopped loving you." I laughed. Loudly. People turned. I didn't care. "I did it because I was terrified," he said. "The kids left. You stopped needing me." I felt invisible. Like I was just a paycheck. So you made yourself visible to strangers instead of fixing your marriage? He looked down. I didn't plan any of it. It just happened. And then it kept happening. I lost control. But I swear I didn't love any of them. Not one. Not even Samantha. She's pregnant, Mark. He froze. I know, I added. And I know she was hired to investigate you. By a woman who signed only as L. He looked like I'd slapped him. That name mean anything to you? He hesitated. Then, my first wife. I sat back. You were married before me. He nodded slowly. Why didn't you ever tell me? We split before I met you. She hated me by then. Took half of everything. I never wanted to talk about it. So I didn't. And she hired Samantha to dig into you? He looked miserable. Yeah. She always said I'd screw things up again. I guess she wanted proof. Well, mission accomplished. The cafe was quiet. Too quiet. That's when Samantha walked in. She wasn't supposed to be there. I didn't tell her. Mark sure as hell didn't. She walked straight to the table and said, I couldn't stay quiet. Mark looked at her like she was a ghost. You told me you loved me, she said, tears in her eyes. You promised me a future. You begged me to keep the baby. I didn't mean it, Mark said. Not like that. You blindsided me. Oh my God, I said quietly. You knew. He looked at me. You knew she was pregnant days ago. Before she came to me. You lied about that too. He stood up. Okay, this is getting out of hand. No, Mark, I said. This is the hand. This is what it looks like when the truth finally comes out. He stormed out. Right in front of a dozen strangers. I sat in the coffee shop with Samantha. We didn't talk much. She finally said, I'm keeping the baby. But I want nothing to do with him. I don't blame you, I said. We left separately. I told the kids. I kept it simple. No drama. They were angry. Not at me. At him. They wanted to confront him, but I told them not to. They're old enough to decide for themselves. But I warned them. Mark isn't who you thought he was. I froze the accounts. He was fired after the HR scandal unraveled. Rachel was let go, too. Legal papers are filed. Divorce in progress. I'm staying in the house. And me? I go to therapy. I started painting again. I take walks. I cry sometimes. I laugh more than I thought I would. If you're wondering if I miss him, the answer is no. I miss the idea of him. The version I thought I married. But the man I sat across from in that cafe? The one who juggled lies like they were hobbies? I don't miss him. I learned this. You can love someone with your whole heart and still not know them. And when they finally show you who they really are, believe them. So no, I'm not hopeful. Not yet. But I'm free. And that's a start.